put it in your mouth, dork face.
I'm so tired.
Stop it. Hi, this is Shannon. We're on Vitality Vault, and guess who's back? I'm going to do it. Back again.
Oh,
Lisa's back.
I don't know that song.
Tell a friend.
Is that
Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
is that Justin Timberlake?
Oh, God, fucking no. No, it's Eminem.
Right. I love him.
Don't do that, please.
Okay. Oh yeah, he just did that. Guess who's back? Okay, back again.
So we're here on Vitality Vault, and I am in New Jersey.
Still.
That's right. We're on the road. I'm in New Jersey at the Center for
This is fun to
Perinatal and Mood Anxiety Disorders, but we're going to talk about a little something else today.
Oh, good.
And in the meantime, I'm going to pull this up. We're going to get comfortable, get comfy.
What are you pulling up? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Back again.
You are good. That is not how it goes, dorky. Okay.
The Best Friends Club.
The Best Friends Club. We're all in. So I was at Lisa's house. I stayed at Lisa's house on my little Vitality Vault
Venture.
Vitality Vault on the road. And I stayed at Lisa's house. And she has two dogs, Cooper and
Callie.
Callie. And I created the Best Friends Club with them.
With them.
And so we sang the song, The Best Friends Club.
Mostly you sang it all day, a lot, till it got so, like, it's like the Ozempic song. You just don't know why you're humming it, and all of a sudden you are. And then I'm like, it's the Best Friends Club.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's still recording. So I wanted to talk about kind of why I'm here, why we're here, what Hayes and Tremaine is going to be doing. And we have, I think I mentioned before, we have a series of books coming out, not just one book. We're adjusting because we're finding that there's so much information. And it goes, and it's women pursuing their passions, hobbies, business. It has a very strong business bent. If you're going to do it, how do you do this without the guilt? The guilt will be there, but there are ways
The guilt crown.
The guilt crown. There are ways to minimize the guilt. And in the process of doing that, we talked about this location. We talked about the difference between entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs this past week. And
I didn't even know that was a word.
You didn't know it was a word, but you are an entrepreneur. You're an employee within.
No, I'm an entrepreneur.
You are correct.
Apparently.
You are an employee within the Monmouth County system, but you created an entire wing, an entire new program that never existed before because you saw a need. And we talked about this in our previous podcast, how you didn't know.
I was doing that.
You knew you were doing it. You didn't know you were supposed to follow.
I didn't know I was
quote
doing
unquote,
it wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Rules. Well, you didn't do it wrong.
No.
You created something great. Right.
Yeah. But at the time when I said, like, hey, we should start this, I was a floor nurse coming off the floor. So when you're a floor nurse, like in many jobs, you just report to A, right? I'm at work that day and you're in charge. I just tell you who's bleeding or not doing well, and I go home. And then going to the hospital, not floor environment, came with like bosses and a boss is under a boss and boss over a boss and meetings about bosses and stuff. And I just was kerfuffled. Like, that's so many people for one meeting. And what are you why are you talking and still talking? So I just was like, I have an idea. This isn't there's nothing like this. And I have all these women. Can I collect them? And they're like, sure, go ahead. Doesn't cost us any money.
And do you think that's what it was?
Yeah.
Doesn't cost us any money.
Yeah. Because it was a support group to start. I was there anyway. At the time being the childbirth education manager, literally booking childbirth preparation classes for pregnant people. And in my own time, once I clocked out of that job, I would hold at that time it was called postpartum depression support group. So I wasn't even clocked in. I was leading a peer support group. There was no liability. I was helping mothers who'd given birth in their system.
And
Triple win.
You know what? That is So it's an entrepreneur, because as an entrepreneur, you do all this work, nobody pays, as long as it's not costing anybody anything, they're okay with it, and you're digging along, and you keep on going, and you keep on going. With everybody who sticks with it, because it's easy to quit those things, because first of all, there's nobody's giving you a gold star, you're not getting a trophy, nobody cares. You're usually causing more problems in your home life because you're not there as much, or you want to do more, so you have to make excuses.
Oh yeah, I mean, literally, like when I started the group, I was newly divorced with kids, 13 and to 11.
Horrible time to start something new.
Really bad timing. But they were at their dad's, I still remember this, every Thursday after school. So I ran the group Thursday.
Right.
So that no one even knew I was doing it.
Right.
My life never affected them.
Right. Well, but I like that, because there are a lot of people, and you and I had talked about this the other day, and it surprised me. You're like, not everybody wants to own or do their own thing. But you did your own thing, but you did it within the stability of a paycheck.
Yeah.
And that can be something, if you're listening to this, you can do. Now, to do it, you probably will come across, if you're waiting for your boss to sign on and pay you to do it, ain't gonna fucking happen.
No.
I mean, it might, but Steve Jobs was an entrepreneur. He was fired from Apple.
When you told me that word, I was like, that is fabulous, because I needed the safety of a paycheck. But for the first time in my life, I felt
like you were doing something for you.
Free to do something for me, but also, and I think I'm saying this truthfully, for all these women who I felt were like me and no one was there for them.
Right.
Like there was no one there for me and I made it through, but boy, that was painful.
But I feel like that as well for businesswoman. Businesswoman?
Actually,
Actually, there's more than one.
There's one.
I want to provide the help that I didn't have when I was trying to do my own thing. I want to provide the information, the tools, the resources, the support.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Right.
Been through it. So, and we'll go quickly because we did talk about how that went from like 0 to where you are now.
Exactly.
But in the process to go from 0 to where you are now, most people don't talk about all the fucking bullshit along the way. And you and I talked about this at length the other day in one of our morning car drives.
Yeah. Which that's coming.
Leadership, because any entrepreneur, you're starting something new that you see a need, you see it will benefit a group or a business or whatever it's going to benefit, and you're starting it from scratch and you're putting your energy and your time and your passion into it. You are a leader. Whether you think you're a leader or not, I was like, you're a leader. What happens is, as that growth and the success happens, and you have to bring other people in to help you grow, because if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere. You just can't keep going on your own.
Right.
If you want growth.
Like it's just Lisa.
If you want growth.
You have to have it like people.
You have to.
Who know other things.
Right. You need a team who have other expertise in what you do not have in order to grow. It's simple. But in the process, you're bringing other human beings with different personalities, different needs, different pay grades.
Different ideas. Different ways they want to do something.
And then slowly, without ever, I think it's like one of those sneaky little mists that come up. All of a sudden you become a manager. All of a sudden you're handling human resources and you're approving vacations.
Payroll and vacation and, but it took a long time, I think, in business world people, for someone to even notice.
Well, sure, because it's not today I'm a leader, and today I'm a leader, tomorrow I'm a leader and a manager, and day 3 I need to hire someone as a manager. It doesn't happen clear. Nothing happens. And also,
is there many business places that are like, oh no, hire more? You seem to be doing it all. So, and if you don't know you're doing it all, you just keep doing it all.
And
without any knowledge.
If there's someone above you, And there usually is, unless you started off your own place. But even if you started your own place, you're going to encounter this with growth. Every single person who is starting something new, if it grows, and you have to hire more people, that you have to see the moment where you have turned from a leader into a manager. You cannot do both. These are two different skill sets. They have two different requirements. And you're not going to be good at both. I've never met a human being who's a great leader and a great manager.
I knew I couldn't, nor did I want to.
And
but
I think that's the point. You didn't want to.
No, nothing about that attracts me. Ew. Like, did you come in? Did you leave? Did you take lunch? Did you go on vacation? This is me. Make sure you take all your vacation days, okay? Because I don't want your mental health to suffer because we take care of people in a mental health time. So please make sure you take all your vacation days. If you need more, let me know. I'll buy you some. I want you to be okay, too.
That's leadership. Mm-hmm. That's not management.
I didn't know that either.
But that's not management.
No.
So there will be a point in your business where you will have to...
The point came when we moved here.
Yeah. You will have to hire a manager, or if you have someone in your business who has shown that they
Shakira.
Yeah. But in outside.
Oh, yeah.
If you have someone in your business who is...
Loves the minutia.
Is very rule-based, is very...
Micro, what do they call that?
Micromanagement. And I don't know that you need to be a micromanager.
Yeah, you do.
Maybe.
Yeah. I know everyone's personalities. I know what's going on in everyone's lives. I know how the team fits together. I am very conscious of team building moments, times, half hours, and half days. Like, I constantly want to let them know they are worthy and real and doing like tough fucking work. And I'm so thankful for them because this team here is a group of 15 women, and that's ordinarily a really bitchy crowd. And this isn't. I have had people that don't fit that I have to fire that want the confines of a like a workplace. And I'm like, oh, you're so cute. That's not here. But because the work we do is humans with humans. And it can't be 9 to 3. You know, it's 9-ish to 5-ish. Some days it's 3-ish. Some days we don't get lunch. I'm not going to sue you because I didn't get lunch. I had to help this mom that day. But other departments take that shit very seriously. And there's policies and procedures.
Do you feel like that's an old way of doing things? Or do you think it's...
100%. So it didn't occur to me they really meant that. I'm like, they must be high. Or like, what? Like when I came here and they told me it was mandatory lunch 12 to 1. Lights go out, phones go on. I wish you could have seen my face. Oh, all right. Well, where I work, if a mom is working and she is a school-age child and she doesn't take lunch any day she's here so she can leave an hour early, she's put in her work day. They cannot even fathom that.
Well, and that's where the leadership and management comes in.
I fought for that for a year.
Right. Because there are some people who, the job as a leader is to grow the organization. That's the job, right? So when you see, well, we need to do it this way because this person this client, customer, whatever your customer is, we're seeing this need for clients.
When could women talk in a work day? During lunch. So when's a great time to have a therapist free? During lunch.
But besides that, that's the leadership way of thinking. Of course.
But I don't understand why does that matter? Why is that so earth-shattering?
It's not earth-shattering, but in the same way you don't understand that, you are not understanding the need for the structure. And a lot of people need the structure, and that's where the manager comes in.
Yeah, but I think that there's so many amazing, and I again, I've said this to you and you've said this to me. I call myself an accidental feminist because I didn't mean to come to this place. I would never have seen myself always defending, explaining, reinforcing women, working women, moms, like seeing the picture different. Job share. I can't work full time. You can't work full time because we have other full time things going on. I'll do 3 days a week. You do 2 days a week. Okay. That blows their minds too. There you go.
Well, okay. So then
why can't we job share?
Oh, sorry. I'm like, there's no sound on mine. But then again, I was quiet.
Okay.
You can, and we're getting in the minutia of that. And I wanted to talk more about the bigger picture. There are no hard and set answers. Every business is different. Every business requires different things. But ultimately, every business is people, right? Mm-hmm. So therefore, understanding the needs of the people,
Of your people,
of your employees, of your team,
customer.
of your customer.
Right.
If you can understand those needs, that is a leadership position. That's what we do as leaders.
Who knew?
Right. Managers.
Would I have ever called myself a leader? No.
Managers make sure all of the processes and systems and everything are put in place and are followed.
I don't like that at all.
But it's a necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary, but it's not the same person.
Never.
And when I came here, because they are, I'm not bad mouthing this place. They didn't know what they were getting either with us. They assumed that this one role does all that, because think the other 99.9% of their businesses, their offices, are medical offices. They do that. Who's ever in charge, I don't even know what their names are in medical office, right? What else do they do but manage the staff, keep time, do payroll, hand out policies?
Human resources.
Yeah.
Well, it's a necessary. You have to have it.
Right. But
processes and systems also are a vital part of making a business successful. I like processes and systems.
I see that.
But let's not talk specifically about here. I want to talk about go back to what we were talking about. You have a lot of women in here who are kind of at a transitional point in their life. They've had children, and they're struggling, whether it's due to lack of sleep, and that's a big fucking thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or something else. They're feeling something is not right. Mm-hmm. And it could be hormonal, it could be medical, it could be whatever it is, but they're feeling that unhappy
I wouldn't say unhappy. I would say what you said. Something's not right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
and also they say, I just don't feel like myself. Those two phrases.
Right.
But not unhappy.
Right. And so you give them the tools and you talk to them and you go through therapy where they can figure out what it is, that thing that's kind of nagging at them, right? That's doing that thing. And I think that occurs in the business world as well. Mm-hmm. And when I talk to women or not talk to women, if you're a woman out there and you're like, so I'm doing all this over here for all these people, but I just don't feel right. I want to do something for me. Mm-hmm. We talked to your mom about this.
Yeah,
she's 83.
Yep.
And she worked part-time. And again, she's 83. So we're talking the 70s and 80s. The restrictions
Judy's
were there.
mom was working part-time. Stacy's mom was working part-time. I don't know what Connie's mom did. Your mom was working everywhere. Mm-hmm. But that was normal.
Right. But now we have these women who are older and unhappy.
Yeah,
because they feel like they have not accomplished anything.
Yeah, that word.
They have not fulfilled a purpose.
She said, "What have I done?"
Oh,
I know.
So I think this is the goal. Again, we're going to go to Hayes and Tremaine. This is a goal for Hayes and Tremaine, and these series of books that will be coming out. We'll tap into little things like that, and
I think it's a good idea. The books are bite size, yeah, very much. My whole brain is bite size. That didn't sound right. The way I think is bite size and is sentences that end in ... not periods. And I know that there's a million women that think like this. Like my brain has 4. I'm not special. I have 4 things I'm thinking about right now, and I'm already putting them in a tier of pyramid order.
So we're going to talk about, oh my God, I got to put my glasses on, the mindset and psychology for women in business, we'll have a fundamentals for women entrepreneurs. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Because again, this goes back to nobody ever told me how to do it, and that would have been really nice. I would have stopped wasting a lot of time on things that did not need my time. When we, so it'll be like, this is the value, your return on investment. Your return on investment isn't just about the product you're selling. It is about the time you are putting into something and what value you're getting out of it. We'll talk about balancing family and passions. We'll talk about taking charge of overcoming analysis paralysis.
Or the other one.
Planning too much. Or if you are biased for action.
Yeah.
We'll talk about how...
Action-paction.
Action Jackson.
Action-maction.
Isn't that
I think that's a guy.
I think it was a movie anyway.
Yeah.
There will be a little book that has digital marketing essentials, because you can start your business and you do not need to, again, we like to pick up the box and fill it with a million things and then figure out how to do them. You don't need a million things. Simple works in business. There is a set plan. We'll have lessons. We'll have stories from women who have traversed different things, and we'll talk about imposter syndrome, and we'll talk about self-silencing and limiting beliefs, how to overcome those. And I don't know if there's an answer, but they're all based in our biology. So, and I wanted to talk about this because this comes up every day. Every day when I'm talking.
What's for dinner?
I got rid of that a long time ago.
God, that's the worst sentence ever.
Women who are starting their journey and they're putting themselves out there, and every business is marketing and sales, which means you have to put yourself out there somehow. And what will my friends say? What will my family say? Oh, my parent, my father said this.
Self-dialogue.
Well, not just the self-dialogue. People say things. Oh, isn't that nice you can do that? Oh, you're starting your own business? Oh, well, I don't understand. What do you do? How about
belittling you?
Yes. Well, or it could be honest question, but we internalize these things as negative. They could be negative, but we also so we have the community structure where people negativism and negativity, and judgment is actually a social psychological construct that we have in our society that helps us determine who's good, who's bad within our community. It also helps. I'm going to show you what there are. So judging others, negatively judging others, is actually they're rooted in psychological and social factors. Okay, so social comparison theory, and Leon Festinger did this, and it was a very long time ago. And a lot of these, I've seen a change in our society, but people value how they're worth in comparison to others. So if you all of a sudden are following your passion and building a business and have a perception of success, that makes me feel less than. This is based in social and psychological. It's rooted.
Like unavoidably?
No, I don't think anything is unavoidable. Again, there's neuroplasticity. We can change the way we view the external and the way we think about ourselves internally. But it does take work, and it takes an understanding to recognize why we feel this way, why it is happening. Projection is part of it. When someone leaves the group, so most of the world exists in the middle. They don't want to get too crazy. They don't want to get out there too much. We view people who have gone that road, but when you do that, and you have lived in the middle, and that you have your nice community, and you have your family, and you have your extended family and your friends, and you decide, I'm going to go from here, and I'm putting my hands in the middle, somehow, I guess this is the middle, to here, what you're telling the group is, I'm leaving you. You may not feel that way, but the group feels that way. They're not logically thinking like that, but when that happens, there is a survival instinct that kicks in. Is the group getting weakened because someone within our group left? Now it's smaller. So there are these
It's reshuffling.
theories, social identity theories, things like that, and negativity bias has research that shows that humans have a tendency to give more weight to negative information than positive information.
Yeah.
So therefore,
Sally frowns a lot, loves to share her misery.
Well, not even just that, even when we talk amongst ourselves. So if we're going to have a conversation and our friend Stacy decided...
I was just going to say that.
Our friend Stacy decided to start her own yoga studio, right? And she's popping and she's on coding and she's on all that kind of stuff. And we wouldn't do this with Stacy because she's in our core group, but say someone else. The conversation in the group, oh, that's great. Did you see what she did? Oh, yeah, but did you see what she was wearing? So then we immediately fall into that kind of negativity bias because it makes us feel better.
Not all people.
Not all people, but it is kind of how it works, I don't know. So, and that's evolutionary psychology. And again, I'm not a scientist. I
think you might be.
I read the ship. Well, I find it interesting that, and we had this conversation before, I believe that, and it was a story that someone had told to me that there was and I don't want to say the name of the person who told me the story, but there was someone in their group who left their business, and the shit talking that went on and the lies that were told about him.
Does that happen to men?
Oh, it was a man.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who is it?
Well, nobody you know. It's not even anybody I know. I mean, the story came from someone I know.
Okay. I was like...
This was a well-respected person who decided to start their own business within the same industry, and everybody loved him, and he left, and every mistake was blamed on him, and the shit was talked about him. He left
because he's not there to defend himself, so they blame everything on him.
They were in survival mode. Mm-hmm. So in survival mode, when he left the group...
He's bad.
Well, because... Did he leave them in a weakened state? Will the group now lose money? I mean, the business. I think people say, well, you're not loyal, but that has nothing to do with it. I don't think loyalty in business is actually a real thing.
No.
You are loyal to your spouse, your people, but you're not loyal to a business because you have your own wants and needs. And as a business owner, manager, if you have someone who is of high value in your organization, who's making you a lot of money, who's very, very valuable, do whatever you can to fucking keep them.
Yeah.
Because your business will suffer.
Yeah, I don't think people know that either.
Your business will suffer when your staff turns over. Mm-hmm. If you have someone who is of high value, I have another story talking to someone where it was a sales organization. I mean, there was a sales department within this organization, and the top salesman was killing it, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning, and they work on commission, right? Salesman. Yep. He was making a ton of money. His commissions were higher than the CEO of the company.
Oh.
He was fired.
But that also was making money for the company, but the higher-ups didn't like the way that made them feel, that he was making
ego.
More.
How stupid is that?
Totally stupid.
So if you are running a business and you are owning a business, take your fucking ego and put it out the window.
What kind of people start businesses? Power people, ego people.
I don't think so.
Oh,
I think people who want to. So is that why you started?
No, I was going to say I think other people who are starting.
Don't you think everybody just wants to do something important in the world? Is that ego? Isn't that just purpose? Isn't that finding fulfillment in what drives you?
Different words. Do you think do you think the fuck was the guy's name at Apple? What's his name?
Steve Jobs.
You think he was just like a good Catholic and he just wanted to do something right in the world?
Well, no. Well, I think that was part of it.
Do you?
Of course it was.
In the beginning.
Because you're passionate.
But then money. But then the house.
I don't
But
think.
then the I don't know what the word is for famous, and his brain and he wanted the recognition for all that.
Disagree with you.
I don't know him, but
let's not even talk about him. I don't think anybody who is as successful as that, or even successful over a period of time, is driven by money. Because if you aren't passionate about what you're doing, generally you're not going to keep doing it, and you're not going to succeed because business is too difficult. You will fail a million times. People will hate on you. You will be upsetting. There are so many societal negatives. And again, I work with women, so maybe I'm just talking about women that come with doing that. You have to be so passionate about and love what you're doing to keep going. Do you want to make money? Of course. It's a transactional thing. I put all this time into there. I'd like to get something out of it. But I don't think most people who are successful start doing it for money. I think they do it because it's just something just like you started the group in the closet. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'd like to think that's what it all is. Yeah. But I don't think everybody is that altruistic. I think there's a million people.
I don't think it's being altruistic. It's being amazingly self-centered if you think about it. You're driving and you're fighting for what you want to do, what your passion is, what your purpose. It is about you, but also to share it with the world because you believe you have something to offer. So it always starts here internally. Well, we're all self-centered human beings. Nobody's not.
Is it self-centered if you see you have a cure for a problem? Or you think you do?
I don't think it's self-centered. I think it begins with self. You're thinking, right? You see something, you have an idea, I want to do that, that's cool. I bet whatever. It starts with the self, right? And then you say, "Oh, I bet other people want it. Maybe I could make a lot of money." And that's how it begins. But every business takes a long time. And I'm talking about the businesses that are in it for the long run. And so if you believe in what you're doing and you get up every day and you keep on going and you're fulfilled and it's making you happy, because you're not going to, most people aren't successful unless they're doing something they love. If they're doing it on their own. You can work in a job and hate it for your whole entire life. If you're doing that, please stop doing that. There's no point. Well, why?
Maybe they just need a paycheck.
But you can do that and also pursue goals.
Not if you've been beaten down your whole life. Not if you are a person who's come up through so many traumas that no one ever has believed in her. She's only been stepped on.
Hopefully, we can maybe help a few people who feel that way.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that population is out there too.
Right.
People who have never had anyone believe in them, never had anyone love them.
We believe in you. I believe in you. I believe anybody can do anything if it's something they are passionate about.
I don't like to say that. I think that's dangerous.
Why?
Because everybody can't do anything. I can't be a single mom with 4 kids having to come up with $2,500 to pay my rent and pursuing my own goal right now. That's selfish. I had to get my kids taken care of and I had to pay the rent, and maybe that means I'm going to be an X. And then one day, when we're financially safe and they're taken care of, I had these kids. They're mine. They're mine to take care of.
So when do you determine what that day is?
If there's financial freedom.
What's financial freedom?
Being able to take a step away from needing the money you're making at your paycheck to paycheck place.
Okay, so is it because there's untold stories of people who were in that position who started their thing on the side and became successful because that was their purpose and they followed their passion. So they didn't wait to start. And waiting to start scares me because you don't know and I don't know and nobody knows how long we're going to be on this earth. And if
I just don't want some woman who's listening to this to feel sad or broken or less than, because right now, all she can do, even if she is partnered, you can partner with a fucking nightmare and he's financially abusing you. You don't even know where your bank account is. You don't even know. There's so many different people.
So she would feel
many
sad
different
that
layers.
there are other options?
She would feel sad that she doesn't have that option right now.
Everybody has that option.
She doesn't.
Why?
She's unsafe. She's in a home with an abuser who financially...
So you're telling me she doesn't have an option to leave?
Oh, God, Shannon, yes. So many people can't leave. They don't have the spirit because they've been so broken.
So
they don't have
what do
any
they do?
finances. Sometimes people stay there forever. Sometimes people stay till they can get out, till there is a sign, till there is a finance, till it's safe. The most unsafe time in a woman's life is when she's about to leave someone who's abusing her.
I am very aware of that. And I did, didn't I?
You did, but
what? I left everything.
You did. And I'm proud of you, and I was with you, but you had to come to your own breaking point.
100%.
Yeah.
But what's the breaking point?
Could you have during that period of being in that type of world and relationship been like, you know what, I'm going to go pursue this marketing social media?
Well, no.
Right.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're doing it in... How did we get to an abusive situation?
Well, I'm just saying, I talk to women all day. I know.
So you're saying it's dangerous for them to know that there's something better for them?
No, not dangerous. I just don't want... No, not dangerous. I don't want to take hope away from a person during that era or season of life where really they are stuck. For many different reasons. You couldn't have opened your own place.
How
then.
can you take hope away? Don't you have to give hope? Don't they have to know there's options?
Yes, I want them to have hope that it doesn't mean it has to be right now. You couldn't have started your company right then.
I already had a company, but...
You had it, but during that chaos.
Well, we're not talking about today.
No.
Hope
I'm
isn't
saying
about today. Hope is about knowing it's out there when you're ready to grab it.
I'm saying there was never a time in your life during that period or another where you didn't have hope, even for a half hour.
Well, yeah, of course.
So I don't want those women, if they're listening, to think that if you're in a situation right now or a time or a season of hard, that doesn't mean that you can't pursue any of this in a year or in 2 years or in 10 years.
That's what I'm fucking saying.
It didn't sound that way.
Yeah, but they don't know that they can pursue something if they don't know that something is there to pursue. And we're talking about the things that are there to pursue. Everybody has to make their own decision when it's best for them to do it. My point of view is we tend to make our decisions too late or don't make them at all because we put our energies into everyone else.
Yes.
And we have so much else to manage.
Yes, I see.
Okay, that we don't balance it and bring and include ourselves in our work,
in our picture, in our world, like like my mom saying,
right?
What did I do? That broke my heart.
I certainly don't think that you don't tell people that you can do anything you are passionate about. Now, does it take work? Yes. Does it take uncomfortableness? Yes. I fucking love uncomfortableness. I think it should be part of our world because I think people are too safe and do things that are too comfortable. Now, people who want more and want to grow and are running a business and want that business to grow, if you're in the it's going good, let's not make any changes, you are actually moving backwards because the world is moving forward in the process. So you have to keep changing.
But think of people who have the 13 to 11-year-olds and it takes X amount of money, literally, just to live, right? Bananas, dog food, car insurance, rent, mortgage, doctor's bills, whatever. And I wanted to do this then.
Yeah.
I couldn't have.
Yeah, you could. You walk home your kids go to sleep. If you are passionate about it enough and you want to make the change enough, you get on the fucking computer, and there are 7 million gazillion free resources out there to teach you how to start. You don't go from 0 to 100 overnight. You go from 0 to 1 to 2. And if you have the understanding that it may take you 2 years, and probably will take you 2 to 5 years to reach your goal, then every day, if you just do a little bit of something, then every day you're closer to your goal. If you do not start, you are at the same fucking position that you were in 5 years ago. So I disagree with you. I think if you want it bad enough, there are 24 hours in the goddamn fucking day. And there are a million other things that we take time doing, okay, that are not for us and not for our passions, that you can take. You're trying to tell me you can't take a freaking hour a day? If you do not start now, you will be 83 years old and you will be sitting there and go, I didn't do anything.
No, I guess I'm thinking of 25-year-old, 30-year-old, 35-year-old.
Yes. And all of the thing is the same, because what you start today is going to take every day.
If they want this.
Well, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
Pursuing your passion.
Yeah.
And we had this conversation. I think everybody wants to do something important in life.
I don't.
I think that's fucking crazy.
No.
I think
I think that there's perfectly lovely, wonderful, worthy people who have decided to be a teacher and are so fulfilled by that, and they're happy.
My mother was a teacher, and that was wonderful.
Right. But she didn't have a.
But also, psychologically, a woman's brain changes, right? So what you were happy with when you were 25, when you were 30, when you were 40, your brain, our brains, not just yours, I'm a woman too, is going to change. And when you are in your 40s and 50s, your brain seeks new things. That's what our brain does. So if you're a teacher and you're like, I'm a fucking teacher and I love it, and my mother's a teacher and she loved it and she loved it and she loved it and she loved it, right? And then she wanted to do something different, completely normal. So I just can't buy it that people start, and I could be wrong. You start something at 25, you're good. You start something at 30, you're good. You never have any other goals, passions, drives, anything.
I mean, I know you can't understand that, and I
don't think people are like that. I think everybody has some innate ability to contribute to the tribe, being our world, being maybe our gender, being the United States, being our small community.
A person, man or a woman, could be fulfilled and satisfied with a career they were passionate about, job, career. They loved, they do, they are.
Yes,
At
but
30,
within that job, it's human nature to want to move up, to want to change.
For everybody.
Yes. How can it not be? Even if, say they're a garbage man, which would make a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. So, and that's a great job. Love it. They're a garbage man. They're a garbage man here, and I think most garbage men retire early at 40, 45. I was listening to a thing the other day, and it had a garbage man on, and it was fantastic. It was Lex Friedman. Was it Lex Friedman? No, it was Theo Von. He had a garbage man on, and then he talked about all the things he was doing now after becoming a garbage man to do other things, because he felt he was at the point in his life, which he is neurologically, to now do other things that he always wanted to do. But he had the safety, and he had his pension. I was going to say,
he was safe, he had finances, and he had maturity.
Well, sure.
I could go be a tiger keeper by then. But if you don't have safety, financial, maturity, security, then it is a lot.
Of course it's a lot.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
Doesn't mean you want to. I'm saying there are two types of people. There's probably 47 types of people, but
there's probably a lot more than that.
Like a lot.
So you're telling me
that
there are types of people
in the world
don't want to grow and don't want to do anything different and don't have passions that they want to pursue and don't want to make a mark in their life or provide something or...
Yes. I'm telling you, there are people that are very satisfied. There's a Facebook page called the Dull Women's Club. It has tens of thousands of members, and they talk about their life and how simple it is and how happy they are. And nothing is profound and nothing is...
Well, it doesn't have to be profound. I'm not saying you have to create Apple. You could have a farm stand. You could have something small, okay? If that's your passion, that's great. But again, that's your passion.
What if their passion is just living that beautiful, simple life they had? I'm a teacher.
But within that life, within that simple, beautiful life that they have, there are things that they are following their passion.
But it doesn't mean that they're striving to be more. They might be happy just being what they are. You can't see that.
I don't think that's how the world works.
I wish someone could call and vote.
Being static is not
You
possible.
know anyone who's static.
How does someone remain static in an ever-changing world?
They let the world change around them.
But how does that happen? Because you have to adjust to the world around you. You have to adjust to your environment. I mean, yeah, maybe there's someone living in the fucking Alaskan woods who's never done anything, but maybe they built a house and now they're learned to hunt for food. So they're changing. They're changing to their environment. Their environment requires them to change in order to survive. Their passion could be living off the land. Well, they're following their passion. Right? Mm-hmm. Do you see where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do you see where I'm coming from?
No. Because I don't believe that we can exist without change. And I don't believe
I don't think that we can exist without change.
I don't believe it's in our nature to not want to make a mark. It could be, I made this house in Alaska. Look at me.
So you think every human being has this innate desire to make a mark?
Yes. Make a mark is to feel like they have purpose on this
Much
earth.
different than make a mark.
Well, no. And to pursue their passion, whatever that is, whether it's making bread or living off the land or building a skyscraper or being president. God help the world. Yes, I think every single person does not want to die unless they feel like they have.
I have an idea. Let's go take a break and let's go in a room where 7 women are. And I want to ask this question.
Is it not working?
There was no interface.
We got into a disagreement. I'm just for that transcription purposes, and so I work with women, right? And we who want to pursue their passions, build their business, and a lot of what we talk about is doing it now because if not now, when, right? And how to balance family and all that kind of stuff. And you guys intersect with that here, and so what
You said, don't you think every woman,
every person.
okay, every person has a desire to follow their passion, make a mark, leave a legacy, do better?
First of all, I didn't say all those things. I said, don't you think every person wants to has a purpose? That's not the right word. Wants to do something before they leave this earth. Wants to kind of make a difference. Whether it's small, whether it's big, but wants to give of themselves.
No.
So you don't think people as they
no.
go through their changes in life and their brain changes from 20 to 30 to 30 to 40 and they pursue different things that they want to do something to validate their existence in some way, whether it's teeny tiny or huge.
A lot.
Literally,
I do. I
verbatim.
do think people
Okay.
want to make some kind of a difference.
You do.
Everybody?
No.
Yes, I think every single human being
No,
on this earth
absolutely
has
not.
some.
No.
Nope.
The
My,
word,
my grandfather came here from Richmond, Virginia, and I think he was just happy to be here.
I said I think that there are people.
He didn't do
happy
anything.
right now, but you don't think
Oh, he's
that
dead. No,
changes.
he's dead. But
as we get older and our brain changes, or say
I think to say everybody
Yeah, it's
is like
really
a
ballsy.
huge overgeneralization.
Me too.
I do think most people do. I agree. I don't think it's everybody. I don't think everyone has that realization. Maybe has their own issues that they're focused on and not going
Right.
out. But I think most people have a desire to do
Something.
I think the
something.
language is limiting us here because there's
Yep.
truth in both statements, and
Right.
I think I think most people want to be good, which can also be
I said that.
interpreted as making a difference, right? So like maybe we all agree, but it's the language that's limiting. Well, like when you say make a mark, it sounds
Right.
like
Huge.
that sounds
I'm
like
not
something
talking
big,
huge.
right?
It could be
From
I.
somebody this
I-
was like from the bowl, no one was eating out of this.
It could be
Yeah.
I'm growing tomatoes and I want to have a
Give you
farm
leftovers,
stand.
it
I
wasn't
want
people were
to
eating
do
that.
something. Look, you know what I mean?
what
It
if
could
I
be
just
very
wanna grow-
small, or it could be I want to be president of the United States. But it's something where there's an acknowledgement of existence by the external world. You know what I mean? Or
Like a
there's a
purpose for
purpose or a
living.
passion, a purpose for living. So there's a purpose, and I don't think anybody. I can't imagine anybody's happy never changing. The world changed around us. We have to change to our
Have you
environment.
ever met a really depressed person?
That's the thing, they don't want to live because they don't have a purpose.
Right.
Right.
Or I said you've
Yeah.
never
So
had.
maybe it's purpose you're talking about more than.
And we talked about purpose and finding your purpose, and I mean, who knows? About it? Right. I mean, that's a whole different thing. But if you find your purpose, or if you find something you're super passionate about, and I think then you want to share it with the world most of the time, right?
But I said, what if you're 35 and you're a single mom and my
I wanted to
job
taste
right
it.
now, my passion is my kids paying rent, getting bananas, having auto insurance.
Is
right?
that your
Like,
passion, or is that your responsibility?
both?
That was my passion.
I definitely don't
for
think a
many
lot.
years.
Right.
Everyone has
Yeah.
passion.
It was my passion for many years. I've moved away.
And I
from it.
couldn't do, it didn't occur to me, truthfully, that there was anything else, because I was in this season of life, and that's what I could, like, that's what bandwidth I had at that time. I had no higher aspirations, I don't know what the word is, like, there was nothing, I was like, oh,
You don't need to have higher aspirations, and I think I mean, we know that changes as we get older, and different things are important as we get older, but you need to know you can, and that
but
was
not
my
everybody
point.
can, and I think that's me.
Why can't everybody have higher aspirations?
Because it's false.
Why is it false? Why
Some
do
people don't want it.
well, if they don't, but what's higher aspirations? Like I said, it could be as simple as sharing your tomatoes with the neighbors. You know what I mean? Like
That's
showing
true.
something. It doesn't have
But
to
I
be.
don't know if they're labeling it as such.
What
Right.
about people who choose to be unhoused and they're just happy?
In tent land.
Well, then aren't
That's
we
their
getting?
passion.
Yeah, like they just like don't want any responsibility. They don't want to deal with society. They just like decide to be homeless, and
Dropouts, right, like, yeah.
that's just like their choice in life.
That's the
Right.
pursuit of freedom. See, it's about definition of what it is. Once you define it too much, then it becomes limiting.
Were you a philosophy person at all?
Do people choose? But
No,
isn't
were
that
you?
mental
'Cause
illness?
you were-
I took
Not always.
philosophy in
Yeah.
undergrad.
No.
No.
I just made the assumption there's
Like
some
little
sort
black
of.
people,
For me,
right,
but-
that want to live in
but good
Montana.
at the same time.
Well, no, I said that there's some people who
I
want to
love
live in
this stuff.
Alaska. They
Yeah,
want to
you
live
can
off
tell.
the land. They want to build but then they build their home and they learn to get better at
But
shooting
maybe they
stuff.
bought their home, they didn't build it, and they're just living
Well, I
there
know, we're
as
talking
a
about-
Unabomber.
The
That's
Unabomber
mental
was
illness.
passionate. The Unabomber was
It's
passionate.
He was. He was. He was.
I think
He was a good letter writer.
There's just too much
About not
talking.
doing
for me.
So you. Okay, so
No, she doesn't
obviously
like it.
to say
Actually, I do a
all
lot of
or
it, but I
black
don't-
or white, there's no black or
I like
white.
to see
Understandable. But don't you think that's inherent in
Hi, food, come on in.
us
Thank you so much.
to want to have purpose
Thank you for
and
reading our
In a
minds.
healthy person,
Yeah.
I do.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I do
Thank
think
you
it is.
so much.
Yes.
in a healthy person?
Yeah.
Well, then, yeah, and so now, why did you say I think everyone does?
I think most people do, but to Ally's point, like not a severely depressed person. Doesn't have that vision and have that. So that-
Desire.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
That's
a
interesting.
depressed
Doesn't even
person
know it's available.
they have invisible barriers up right where they can't
see the end, or they can't see that there's a difference or things can change.
Well, we're talking about everybody.
Right.
They're in not everybody.
Well,
But I
yeah.
think it speaks to. Hold on.
Right.
I meant more like healthy, functioning people, because I
Yeah.
deal with women in business, so, but.
Then you have to say that.
But that's what the podcast is about.
Right.
It's inferred.
I think it's important though to think about that for someone to be healthy, there's a correlation between having a purpose and not. So it's saying something important that humans need that to feel well or whole
Or
most of the
fulfilled.
time.
What did you say in the beginning of that? To have a?
If we're noticing that depressed people in general have a lack of purpose, that's an interesting detail to note because then it may mean that humans need purpose to have a sense of fulfillment and feel well and whole. But it's a very important.
Chicken and egg, though, too, right? Because what if the
What if they
depression
feel
is
purposeless
organic?
and that's why they're
They're
depressed?
then depressed, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
same
that's
thing
what she's
though,
saying. It's the same thing, right?
Is
I
that
know
it's
there's a study
important
on this,
to our humanity.
to have a purpose.
Yeah. Whatever that means. Could mean not having a house, living in the woods.
Yeah. I mean, there are people like that's their goal. To
But we got into this conversation because
I've thought about it.
I said, you can do anything.
Yeah, and I was like,
Now,
don't
that
say
sounds
that.
very general, and you said don't say that because
Yeah.
not everybody can.
Right.
I
And
said, but
it's hurtful to say this.
most people don't have the means.
And so that's when you said, but everybody can take an hour a night on the computer to better themselves. What if they don't have the energy or have a computer? Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yes,
to
but-
dangle that in front of everybody is
But it's dangling hope. Don't you isn't hope
But what if they don't hope for
required?
that?
What? Well, they don't have to hope for that. That was an example. Don't you think hope is necessary? To know that things can change and can get better and there are ways that it can happen, don't you think that's necessary?
What if you're happy and fulfilled now? Do I need to want more?
Well, no, but we're not talking about that. If you're happy and fulfilled now, then you took the steps to get there. Because it doesn't happen by sitting around and having it come to you. I mean, you have to work. Life is work. Life is difficult. You have good days, bad days, ups, downs, whatever, but it's getting through those because you know it will get better. Isn't that the point?
This is a really interesting ethical dilemma that comes up in therapy a lot. Because as a therapist, you have to think about balancing real socioeconomic barriers
Right.
and a person's hope, like you're saying.
Right.
Because they're both can exist, but both used in the incorrect way can be harmful.
How?
So it's a really interesting conversation that I've thought of myself and questioned. How can it be harmful? It can be harmful to espouse hope to somebody who is facing real barriers. For example, racism or sexism, those types of things. And it can also be, I think, harmful to tell someone that they can't do anything to change their lives because there's too many barriers in the way.
Well, yeah,
Because
I believe
it stunts creativity
Right,
or
right.
or trying to figure out a way to make your life different or look like how you want it to look. So it's a very delicate
But what's
balance.
more? But wouldn't it be more harmful to tell people that they can overcome barriers? I mean,
Depends.
It does. I feel like it depends so much on who they are, what year they are, where they are
Well, of
in
course,
their life, right? Like,
but to know it's out there, meaning the tools or things are out there, resources are out there, because people come to you because they want to feel different, right? So they're already coming to a resource that's out there.
Right.
You're already the hope, right? And so they're already overcoming that barrier. So you guys are on maybe the first step on the other side of the barrier. So isn't it more harmful to tell them that there are always barriers. There are barriers in work, there's barriers in everything. But isn't the goal to let people know that there are ways to overcome it? It's going to be hard. I mean, I tell women who come to me who want to start a business, and I know they are talking about a hobby, and I'm like, let's figure this out first before you do all this. You have to put all this time and work, and it's struggle, and it's hard, and you're going to lose money, and then maybe make money, but maybe not, and your friends will hate you, and your family, there's a lot of barriers, but you can overcome them.
So if you're looking at someone like RN from this morning, right, and she is depressed or bored or at a point in her life like where she's just like unfulfilled, what is her?
Well, I don't think we're saying you can or can't overcome them. We're saying, this is a temporary treatable mental health condition and you're here, and that's terrific. So let's work on, what we need to work on to get you better. So we don't tell people like exactly what to do. We present them with certain things.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
You don't ever
you can't
know
tell people what to
somebody's
do. You can just
life.
know that there are things out there.
Yeah. We mean, as social workers provide resources. That's like
Right.
a big thing.
Right.
That's what most of us are
Right.
social workers.
I don't know. I don't think anybody at the end of their life wants to be like, yeah, that's cool. Nobody knew I existed. I didn't do much. I didn't follow my passion. I wasn't here for purpose. I'm good.
Another important part of this conversation that I think is important to note is the micro and macro levels that I think are confusing the two of you when you talk. Like giving the message to maybe like a huge group of people saying like, you can do it if you just try, is missing the nuance of each individual person.
Sure.
And that way people could internalize that they're not good enough or not trying hard enough.
Right, that's what I meant.
Even though that's not your intention at all.
Well, I'm not saying you can do it if you try. You can do it if you work your freaking ass off and take those tools and resources and get the help and do. You know what I mean?
Right. And
Trying is there is no try. There's only do, like Yoda says.
And it's much easier to have that conversation. I think that there's truth to that for sure, but it's easier to give the message that you're intending if you're speaking to the individual about their unique situation, so that you can say to them like.
So what if
this
you
is
don't
what it
have
would
the
look
ability to speak to an individual one-on-one and you're on the internet or you're doing a podcast or you're on TV, you're not speaking to one person, you think it's harmful to say
Take one.
if you...
I think your assumption sounds tone deaf.
So is this
There might be a way to say
motivational
it.
speaker?
No,
No.
it's just about...
Because that's kind of interesting. Motivation.
There might be a way to say it. I think the best thing you could do would be to give people tools to assess their own situation. Like,
Right.
give them questions to ask themselves.
Oh, 100%.
Or, like,
Yeah.
So then they can do it themselves. And then just talk about how it is nuanced. It would be the best way to talk to a large.
Yeah. Well,
Faceless
so
audience
what do you
about
think? What do you guys? What's your impression of motivational speakers? Then, do you think they are dangerous?
No, I mean, I've listened to little snippets of people, and I think that's great. If you're feeling upbeat, I think it's like can give you a push.
Yeah.
I don't know if it can get you from it
I was
down
gonna say, I
below,
totally
but-
have listened to different people and different snippets being pointed out by Melissa, or you know what I mean, like, but would I go see one or hear one?
I would go see Mel Robbins. I love her. I think she's great.
Wait, not he.
I do love
Who's
her.
that other guy with the big teeth?
The big
Yeah.
head.
Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
Tony
like,
Robbins.
just listen
Melissa's-
to him, like, wow,
Melissa's
good for you. He's got
seen him.
tons of energy. He's
He's
up in front
great.
of the whole place, like
Melissa and
dancing
her
around.
son, and her husband have seen him and say that Surf Taco comes from some of his tenants.
Thing.
So
Yeah.
then why? So then we started this. You and I started our little disagreement about. You said it's dangerous to tell people that they can do anything, but that's what these people do.
But those people aren't everyone.
What?
I guess I'm just thinking of like,
That's your bread and butter. He has to tell people that.
Like, and I guess how can I not internalize
Joel
it?
Osteen.
I'm thinking of, Lisa
I love his
married
optimism.
to Robert as a floor nurse
Yes.
with three 11-year-olds and a 10-year-old.
That's
And how
why
easy it
the
would be
nuance
for
matters.
everyone to say, just leave. Where the fuck am I going?
That's why the nuance matters. So
Yeah.
if you're talking one-on-one, you could say like,
What's
you
your
can get out of
story?
this situation.
And it'd be different
This is what it
for
looks
me
like when
than
other
for
women
you.
did it. Versus
Right.
saying like,
They're
you
not
can do
all
anything.
the same steps.
Even
Sounds
though you
so
have no maternity
glib.
leave, no help, and you haven't slept in 6 months, and you're oppressed, and etc.
Yeah, Lisa, I understand the bank accounts are all under his name. He actually keeps the keys to the car over there, and you only work per diem because you have to vacillate between fucking Stepford wife and hostage mother while keeping everybody happy. So how I could leave, I wasn't even in that equation.
Yeah, but you did.
I only did when because I was forced to make a decision before I was ready to make a decision because it would have damaged the kids more. And then a job fell into my lap. Like it literally happened the same exact month. And
Right, but
I
it
said,
happened
yeah.
when you were ready to pick it up. When you were ready
It
to
happened when I was pushed to Mama Tiger for my.
But you had been pushed before.
I had what?
You had been pushed before. Why, at that moment, don't you think that was the moment you were ready?
I think that was the moment I was like, fuck this shit.
Right. You were ready.
Also called ready, yes. Yeah, because now I would have to explain to a 13-year-old boy, yeah, you can cheat. Your dad did. Why don't you? And to my 13-year-old daughter, I stayed because I have nothing right to say to you because you shouldn't stay.
So if nobody had ever told you that anything could ever be different because they didn't want to set you up, then would you have ever left?
Some people don't know that they have that option or
Right.
they can leave.
Right.
So
And I couldn't have. And people talking about it before that without knowing because I think I hid it very well, without knowing my daily prison, it broke my heart to hear you could leave. It broke my heart to hear you had a partner who supported
Yeah, but when you
you
were ready to leave, you knew you could leave because you had heard previously that you could leave, right? So it broke your heart when you weren't ready, but then it empowered you when you were. So both exist.
I don't know. I feel like
Yeah,
I was
I think
more,
you guys are arguing two ends of a spectrum
Like
that are
semantics?
extreme, which
I
is
think
never
it's more semantics, yes.
Right.
representation of reality, though, because reality lies between the two.
Well, I mean,
So
realistically,
I'm
we're
wrong.
talking we're talking about a group, not an individual.
Yeah, I'm right.
No, actually, you're not.
I feel like I was right overall.
No, you do?
Yeah.
That's how you interpreted
both
this,
right.
huh? There we go.
I feel like I was more,
I'm sorry, that's not satisfying.
so not satisfying.
I just don't believe you can ever not give people hope. I don't think it's dangerous telling people that you can get out of it, do more, do these things. But it's very hard. But it's an option. Because if people think they're stuck forever and there are no options, that's fucking worse, isn't it?
mentally.
Yeah.
Not always. Sometimes the other one's worse.
Worse.
But it's
to not
just.
to realize you don't have hope right
But
now.
sometimes, only sometimes. Only sometimes.
I feel like she wants to side with me and she doesn't want to do it in front of you.
No.
No.
Thank you, ladies. You've proven me correct once again.